Okay, now the problem is, we've got all these different cool little French curve thingies, but the thing that tends to happen is people pile them up in the middle, trace over them all, and it becomes a big, huge, jumbled mess. When you're making a composition, you don't want to have all this stuff right in the middle with all this empty space on the outside edge. So let's trying to do something a little bit different. You've got these different French curves that you can use, but you don't have to use the entire shape. You can use the inside, you can use part of the outside, and you can kind of look into depth into your picture. Now, to eliminate that empty space, we're just going to start dividing our paper in 3 sections. Just quick little lines. They don't even have to be even. And that just breaks it up a little bit. Now what we can do is start taking some of these shapes, and I'm going to do this one. And you can play around with it and set it down before you actually commit to anything. You don't have to just slam it down and then start tracing it. You can move it around to make sure that you get the whole entire shape in there. But what I'm going to do is, instead of tracing the whole thing, I'm going to trace this part here, and I'm going to stop when I get to those lines, and I'm going to trace this part here. Now it kind of looks like it's going under. So I'm doing a little bit of overlapping and underlapping. And then I can take this kind of fun shape here and I can do these little waves. But again, instead of tracing the whole thing, I'm going to trace this part, and then I think I'll change it a little bit. And I have this wave, and I'm going to stop right there, and then I'm going to add this little wave. Actually, I think I'll do it this way. So it's just a matter of trial and error to start filling up your page. So you don't have to fill up the whole entire thing. And then something else you can do to continue with that kind of overlapping and depth, excuse me, is I'm going to trace this little wave thing here. I'm going to trace over the whole thing. And then I don't really like that section here, so I think this I'm just going to kind of freehand it until I get to here. And then I have all this kind of overlapping junk going on. So then I'm going to play around with my eraser, and maybe I'll erase this line here. And it just kind of trips up with the overlapping. And maybe this one I'll bring back and stop it there. So then you've got this one going over this one, and I'll erase this line here. And what that's doing is it's just creating some depth, some overlapping, and making it look really cool. And then maybe I'll erase this line. So the key to this is just playing around with the different shapes, overlapping and underlapping, and seeing where they stick. And then I like how I have this little loop thing here, so maybe I'll go and add that over in here. And so you kind of want to go light with it to start, so that you can erase, but you're going to be painting, so it really doesn't matter. So it just kind of creates some real cool little intricate pictures in here. And it doesn't always have to be just the French curves. You can use circles, and you can kind of create a gradation of circles. And you don't even have to do all the tracing. You can freehand a lot of shapes. You want to make them kind of enclosed because you're going to be painting them. But you can do a whole kind of network. My circles are getting smaller, of shapes. And so you're looking at your whole composition as being balanced and kind of dynamic, taking your whole eye through the picture. So I've got this kind of gradation of shapes going through here. And then maybe you want to add something even further. So maybe I'll just add some lines back here, and I'll make them kind of wavy. Put that on that edge. And I don't really really know what this is going to end up. I just know that I like looking like I'm going down into the depth of my picture instead of just kind of having a whole bunch of stuff piled up and lines going every which way. This way you're kind of having them go on top of each other and overlapping and underlapping and all that really cool stuff. So this is adding yet another element to the picture. And I think I'll just kind of keep going, doing this in here. I like the way this is kind of curving. And maybe I'll just stop it there. And then you can continue to add things. You can add your own little flair to it. I kind of like these different angular and not angular, but circle shapes and bumps and all sorts of crazy stuff. So you just kind of go with what you feel, but you want to make sure that you're filling it up so it's completely balanced. And then maybe I'll just do one more little curve here. And again, I don't like the way all of these French curves are, so sometimes I kind of freehand it. And maybe I'll add one more. Maybe I'll add this little loop. And there. And there you go. Voila!